you said you used. I heard you say this. He's a grand weaver. He brings
Yes.
all things together.
Yes.
And when you don't know, when you're not sure what he's doing, he's still at work.
Yeah.
It's a
I
progress.
say that all the time. I was like, even when we don't see it, he's working everything on our behalf.
Yes, he is.
On our behalf, as long as you surrender to his will.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a daily thing.
It is.
That's a daily thing.
Now that's a biggie right there. You can't just do it a couple of days and then get tired and quit. It's like any other relationship. You have to work diligently at it to cultivate that relationship with Christ.
Yeah.
And when
there's little things like just something simple, like whenever I wake up in the morning, the first thing I do when my alarm goes off is I say, "Good morning, God. Good morning, Holy Spirit. Good morning, Jesus." And then there'd be days that if I don't do that, because I'm like in Chattanooga this weekend, so I wake up at my brother's house and I didn't do that, I'm like, man, like, let's rewind. I want to start my day off because, during the week when you're here at your own home and you got a schedule and that alarm goes off, that's what I do.
Yeah.
And so when I don't do it, it's like I miss it. Even those little things like that make any sense.
Actually, and that's a beautiful relationship. See, a lot of people don't understand how you can have the relationship with Christ that we do. Because they don't have that, and I think that's the big thing. I tell people that if you, the Bible says that God chose us from the foundation of the world, and I heard a minister say many years ago, he said, that's good because if he can see me now, he might change his mind.
Yeah.
And he loved us while we were yet sinners.
Yeah.
And he
loved
gave
us
us
at our darkest.
Yes, absolutely. He gave it, and he gave his life for us.
Mm-hmm.
So.
You know what, Michael Champion, I think that, when we talk about the disciples and everything else and the people that Jesus did hang out with, I think he would be right here with us. We're his kind of people.
Yeah. The broken people. Absolutely. That's what he wants. And
ones that really, and I say that all the time. Addicts, man, anybody that's been in addiction, they've been to the depths of hell.
Yeah.
You've seen devil. I don't know how many times. When I tell you I was terrified and the demons would attack my mind in methamphetamine, there's nothing anybody could do to tell me what was going on in my head wasn't real.
Right.
And I know you were going to share some scriptures on that part, wasn't you? That something about, because I wanted to share a little bit with people, but I wanted to see what, that there's certain things that, well, for one thing, when you're doing methamphetamine, I know that a lot of people, you'll see a lot of people with sores on their faces and their arms and stuff. They really believe that there's bugs inside their and in their skin and everything. That's a demonic spirit. That's a demonic spirit.
It is.
You know what I'm saying? And there's nothing you can do. When somebody's on methamphetamine, you can tell them all day long that ain't real. But in their mind, it's as real as me and you sitting here talking.
It is.
I'm just saying, and same thing with me. Like I said, man, I just share a quick story.
Okay.
My neighbor, when I lived up on the mountain, my neighbor's daughter got killed by a pack of wild dogs at her mailbox.
Right.
And so, and we called about these wild dogs. A lot of people in that lived in on our street and stuff. They were supposed to pick them up. They never did. Well, that's all it took. That hearing that one little story, and that I'd gotten an argument with the guy I was living with. I took off walking down the road. This is in broad daylight, get you, and her dog's barking, and I thought they were going to eat me because I was high on methamphetamine. Right. So the next thing you know, I'm climbing up in a tree, screaming because these dogs. I seen these dogs. I seen them.
Right.
And even to this day, when I look back and I know that they took me to the hospital and those dogs weren't real, the cops were there, and everybody standing around the base of the tree telling me to come down, that there was no dogs. Those dogs were there. I seen them. You know what I'm saying? So I knew that, those demons are so real. They're real, and that's why it's so hard to get off the stuff.
It is.
Because it attacks your mind. And people think, well, if I ever saw dogs around a tree trying to kill me, I think I'd quit. You think?
Yeah, a lot of people think that it's just as simple as walking away. I had family members say, "Well, just walk away." It's not that easy because it attaches itself almost like on a chemical way, and you can't. you can't break free because I'm gonna be honest with you.
We've invited those demons
Yeah,
in.
we have. I went through about $60,000 worth of cocaine in about 3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
And as I look back on those days, I remember very little of it. But what I do remember is how delusional I was,
Yes.
how deluded my way of thinking was.
People on meth will stay up for 3 or 4 days at a time.
Absolutely.
And they don't realize they're fasting for the devil.
Yeah. Oh, I like that's good.
That's
Yeah,
what you're doing.
that's yes.
You're
very
fasting
good. Yeah.
for the devil, so it's even gets. You're just inviting them demons in more and more
Absolutely.
and more, and it's so hard to get them off of you once you get them attached to you.
It is. You know, the Bible talks about that. In 2 Timothy 1:7, it talks about having a spirit of fear that comes upon us, and that brings into the paranoia you're talking about, the demonic activity. And you know, I love this. Well, the perilous times is it's 1 Timothy 3:1, which says, "In the last days there shall come perilous times." And I find that I love that because there's no place in the Bible where this man had a fierce countenance about him, and in the Gospels, and the same Greek word for fierce is the same word for perilous, and it tells us in these last days that there's going to be strong demonic strongholds coming against people. And as we look, even going into the last days of the tribulation, drug use will be very rampant. It's going to be very controlling. And it's going to attach itself to the minds, and we're going to be beginning to hallucinate. I got a friend, she lives in Louisiana now, but she was telling me about where she lived, and kind of like a little duplex, or not duplex, but a series of apartment houses. She said there was a girl there that was always screaming because she thought devils were trying to jump on her.
I've seen it all, Mom.
Yeah, you know, it's I believe this is very real. So, see, the thing about what most people don't realize is these mind-expanding drugs, and I believe cocaine was one of them, or at least the way I was doing it was, it opens your mind to see things that you normally wouldn't see. It's like taking, you know, it's like Paul says, you know, we see through a glass darkly, which means there's things there that we can't see. But when you start messing with your mind, you're lifting that veil and you're seeing things that we weren't meant to see.
What was that one guy? He said all drugs will take you somewhere else. Is whether you can make it back or not.
Oh wow, that's
That's the truth.
That's pretty.
You know,
heavy.
I mean, when I've seen some. I mean, I've seen it all, and I know you have too. And it's never been funny to me because I've been there. So you know, certain people. I've seen people laugh when people would get high and get paranoid. To me, I don't laugh because I've been paranoid.
Right.
And it would attach. I've seen people take one hit and think they were on fire and just literally be patting themselves down, screaming, terrified because they really believed that they were burning. You know, I mean, it's the devil at his finest.
It is.
It truly is. And, you know, a lot of people think that these people that are on meth and stuff, that they're just out living the dream. I promise you, you need to pray hard for them because those demons are real and they're attacking them left and right, especially their mind. Especially their mind, and I just pray everybody can on their way back to God.
That's right. A lot of people, they don't realize the spiritual connection to this.
Yes.
I'm going to share something that's not on my notes, but it's something that the Lord has dropped in my spirit several times now while preparation of this. You know, if you go and study the origin of demons, you'll find you can find a little bit in the Bible, and I'm not saying that the Bible doesn't give us all the answers, it does, but you can find collaboration in Scripture with other texts, like the book of Enoch and so forth, and it actually says that and this is in Genesis 6, that as got close to the days of Noah, the sons of God, which were angels, they took wives, all of which they chose, and that word "took" as kind of a violent taking out. You almost get the idea that the women were not participants of it. And when you go to these other religious texts, which I'm going to say this right now, I do not believe they are inspired of God like the Holy Scriptures are. I do believe that they are beneficial for studying to get information that you can take the Bible and walk through these books and learn some things. And one of the books is the book of Enoch. It actually talks about how the fallen angels, they begin to teach people, in particular women, the dividing of roots. And when you understand taking those plants and breaking them out, I mean, you know, tobacco is a plant, cocaine, that's a plant. What they were doing, they were apparently getting these women attached to the drugs, and what came out of this unholy union were what they call the Nephilim. And see, people don't realize this, but demons are directly connected with drug use, severe drug use. And when you do this, you leave yourself, you're inviting them in. We talk about that. You're inviting these entities into your life, And when they have a stronghold attached to it, then it really takes, as God says, some demons come out through prayer and fasting, fasting and prayer, and these entities, they are vicious. Let's put it like this: the devils, they don't care, because if they go out and break a bunch of laws, if they kill if the devils are on you and they motivate you to kill somebody, then you go to the next year, they leap out and they go somewhere else. Yeah. And devils can do this, but it all goes. Yeah, the nefarious. I remember seeing that. And
so real.
It is, and you have to open yourself. There's two things people don't realize. If you want the devils to interact in your life, you have to open yourself up to them. And if drugs are a gateway to anything, it's a gateway to demonic oppression and demonic possession. And likewise, if you want God to do something in your life, you have to be susceptible and open up to receive Him as well. And it's this cosmic spiritual battle that we're living in these last days. And the main thing, like what we're doing, we're seeing it in the drugs and the alcohol. It's confusing people. It's affecting their mind. And when you get people that aren't saved to begin with, or even if they are saved, they become demonically oppressed, and the devil tries them, then what you have people that they don't see any hope. Like you're talking about the devils that got hold of you, that made you, they were telling you lies and making you think that you lost everything you had, but when in reality you didn't. Your family still love you. They still care about you. They were still praying for you. But the devil wants you to say, it's over. You don't have anything. You might as well kill yourself.
Exactly.
And I struggle. Well, I don't struggle as bad as I used to, but with bipolar mental disorder. So you take bipolar, put about $100 worth of cocaine with that, and then you're away from God. That's a messed up situation for me, and that's something that I brought on myself. And just as sure as I put this on myself, then I could also bring Christ back into. I could pray and He can deliver me from that, which He eventually did. And I am so forever grateful, because the things I'm doing for God now through Him allowing me to be in ministry, it's remarkable that what God has for you far outweighs what the devil has for you. And I'm going to tell you this, because
I'm excited.
I
get excited.
I
want to do, like I said, I love sharing my testimony to people. And going around to churches and the Celebrate Recoveries and telling people how he man, I love it. I mean, I love it. I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world.
That's right. Some people that look at me, if they would have seen me back in my drug days, they would have never believed they're standing here with a guy hosting a podcast every week and also a licensed preacher. They say, no, not Michael. You got to be kidding me, man. I knew that guy back in the day. But it's not what I've done. It's what God has done.
Yes.
And I'm so grateful. I'm so thankful. I wouldn't trade that for anything at all in the world. But I want to talk about something there for a minute that I know that you've dealt with. I know I've dealt with it. And it's just something that I think that we need to talk about this as it relates, because you'll never find a substance abuse relationship that this isn't present in. I want to talk a little bit about the Jezebel spirit, or the spirit of a narcissist. And to just give you a little bit of an idea about the spirit, you can read this in 1 Kings chapters 19, 21, 2 Kings 9, and also in Revelation chapter 2, 23. What the spirit does, it preys upon the innocent. It literally breeds depression in people. It uses deception, manipulation, and lies to control other people. It uses manipulation to take what doesn't belong to it. It serves up great mischief, and it's also it can bring a spirit of promiscuousness and idolatry. And this is one thing in Revelation 2:23. It talks about that spirit of Jezebel that was prevalent at the church of Thyatira. It actually preys on the hearts and the minds. It seizes control of your emotions and your intellect to where you can't get out of it. So what were you sure about the Jezebel spirit, the narcissist spirit?
Well, I ended up with a narcissist for 11 years, and I didn't even know what a narcissistic person was. I didn't know there were people that could not be sorry for what they've done. You know, I didn't know that someone could hurt you and actually never admit that they hurt you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I was with got into a narcissistic relationship with someone, and this man, he went above and beyond what any man had ever done to get me. Mm-hmm. But once he got me, he little by little started tearing me down. I thought he was going to be, I fell in love with the person he pretended to be, and that person never existed. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And so then that's what I kept holding on to, was the person that never existed. Right. And so, I thought he was going to be good to me and my kids, you know. But then, like I said, you know, he little by little started tearing me down and secluding me from my family and my kids because he didn't want anybody to tell me to try to lure me away from him, you know, for the way he was abusing me. You know, it was terrible abuse. He used to tell me I was fat, I was ugly, I was stupid, I didn't need to think, I wasn't good at it. You know, and here, you know, I'm like, really? Okay.
That says well about him, don't it?
What? It ain't okay. It might be a little chunky, but I don't know about stupid. But you know, but then there again, you know, I kept going back. I kept going back, and like I remember one time, you know, my brother he told me again. He'd said, you know, it must not be that bad because you keep going back. That's not the case.
Right.
This person made me think that they were all I had,
Right.
and that he was the only one that cared about me. Well, nobody else come saw you in prison. They didn't put $25 on your books every Friday. They didn't write you 187 letters. They didn't pay your bonds. They didn't bond you out of jail. They didn't, you know, these kind of things.
Right.
It's got manipulation, but it, you know that on itself, you know, was hard. They say if you can get away from a narcissistic person, and I know you've got narcissistic people in your life, and you know that if we can get out with our sanity or our mind, we're doing good.
Absolutely.
Because
Amen.
a narcissistic person will definitely try to destroy you mentally. Mentally,
Yeah.
they will, and that's a demonic spirit too. I prayed for this person, and you know we don't say no names. I prayed for this person even after I got away from him for years, and I don't know if anybody else is going to agree with this, but this is what my God told me that's a lost cause. That's a lost cause, right?
Some people are, and that's you
I
know.
mean, they're you know he's totally narcissistic through and through,
Yep.
evil at its finest.